Hello, and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you are watching content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we're choosing to live. What I'm discussing in this video is that it's never too late. It's never too little, not too late. But both of them can be applied. So that's why I stopped for a moment and was like, does that apply? Because sometimes the right thing comes out. It's never too late and it's never too little in our lives for us to experience and create and accomplish goals and do things that we always want to do. When I think about our lives on a daily basis and I think about how much time we have in order to get things done, I think so many people feel overwhelmed with the fact that what they can contribute to their goals or the things that they want to experience in life is so little that it's not worth it. Have you ever been completely flabbergasted by the amount of debt you have with something? It's like, I think everybody's been there when they're looking at a specific debt. Maybe it's a credit card, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a house or whatever it is. It's something that you want to pay off and get out of your space in your life, right? And you're looking at this thing and you're thinking this is unsurmountable. And a part of you is like, well, I'm going to put $100 towards that. But you're like, $100 won't even make a dent. But at the end of the day, we already know that $100 is going to be just one small micro step towards the bigger steps that we eventually want to take. And we know that if we take no steps, then that means no progress is being done, right? So the idea that it can be too little to put towards a goal or a dream is kind of completely absurd. Think about your regular day that you got going on. Whenever I'm working on a project, like I was mentioning in another video, I'm working on a new writing project, a new book, right? Which kind of I'm always working on something, but this one seems to be picking up speed and I got a little momentum with it and I like the idea and it's something I can run with for the time being. And so whenever I think about the word count that I want to have, right, it's like 667 words per day in order to meet this specific deadline that I have. Well, if anybody knows about writing, that's a pretty low hanging fruit sort of goal. And the reason why I'm okay with having that goal that low is because I know that every day that I add to 667, that it's still putting me at that exact deadline that I know is going to show up because the math is already done, right? I already know this amount takes this amount. This is what the week is going to be. And this is what the month is going to be. Now, what I don't do is beat myself up when I have days to where it's only 400 and something and I just can't think of anything that's worthwhile or useful to put on the paper. And I'm like, well, I don't mind writing junk sometimes and then having to delete it later. But other times there's not even the junk there, right? And so I put myself in a mindset of saying, hey, you went over that word count for 3 days in a row. Today, if you're under that word count, that's not a big deal. So we just have to remember in life that it's never too little. Even if we're trying to say pay off a credit card bill, something as simple as that, right? And we have the minimum payment is $50 and we have $100. A lot of people won't pay the $100 because they're just like, well, that extra $50 is not going to make a difference. But it is going to make a difference. It will impact it to some degree. And it can also help us learn how to not see instant results whenever we're trying to work on something or create something. And the less we see instant results, the more patience and resilience that we build up in order to accomplish or create or develop ourselves to meet certain goals in our lives, right? One of the biggest things that I can remember all the time when it comes to accomplishing goals and doing things that I truly want to do in this life is that there's a part that comes along with it of long suffering. Long suffering is what I call what occurs when we're not going to see the results from it immediately. We're not going to get any instant real gratification. The journey and the process has to be the joy for the time being. And many times if we keep it to ourselves, it's even more of an isolating process. And we feel like, well, why am I even doing this? Because I don't even have a community to share it with, right? And so something that muscle that we can build up over time is the one that's willing to work on a project when nobody knows that we're doing it. The one that's willing to give our extra 15 minutes we have in that day to writing maybe 100 words if we're writing something, or to sending out maybe one email, or to doing maybe, one drawing project or whatever it is we're trying to create, or writing one recipe if we're creating a menu or we're a chef or something like that. Like that little time that we give to it is ultimately going to add up to something much bigger. And when we do that, it starts to build that muscle of, I don't have to have outcomes and results today. I can truly celebrate the small wins that I have along the way. So when you have a day and you just think like, oh man, say if you have a weight loss goal and it's like, I just spent most of the day eating crap. I've spent most of the day eating things that I didn't want to ingest into my body. Now I failed. The whole day is ruined. So let me just go ahead and finish this day with some Cheetos in the bed. And I'm laughing because I've thought like that and I've done it. I'm like, oh, today I was supposed to be doing low carb. I was supposed to be doing no calories for this. I was supposed to be doing no sugar or whatever it was. And then I realized that I messed it up most of the day. Then I'm just like, oh, whatever. I guess I'll try again tomorrow. And then I mess it up the next day, or not mess it up, but I don't meet the standard that I want to meet. But what I have the mindset of now doing is that the minute I notice and the minute I think like, you know what? Oh yeah, I did start the day with crap, like eating a bunch of junk I shouldn't have been eating. But guess what? From this point on, it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm not going to have any for the rest of the day. And then when I wake up in the morning, I may feel so accomplished in the fact that I was able to turn that faucet off at that given time, at that random time in the middle of the day, that I won't even start my day down the wrong path. Those little micro wins are how we build up the dexterity in order to create the bigger wins in our lives. Everybody wants the big blast. We want the big growth and the big expansion. But the incremental ones are where we truly see what we are made of. I can even look at it with this YouTube channel, right? I have not been consistent on YouTube until like the past couple of years, but I do know that, and I've taken these ridiculous breaks at different times for no good reason. But what I've noticed lately is that I've been seeing tremendous growth. And while it's not like I looked at my account one day and it was, 20,000 views, and then the next day it was 100,000 views. It's not like that. It's like an incremental growth. It's like if you look at the measurement and the analytics, it's constantly going up, 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 up. Now, if I was worried about having some big boom, then that means that I can't even give my full attention and time to creating the type of content and putting out the type of messages that I think are going to be fruitful and beneficial to the world. I'll just be so caught up on what the analytics are saying and what I'm not doing or what I'm not getting. And so I got to believe when I have 2 days go by and then there's like only one new subscriber and then like only 5 views on a video, that is how that's supposed to be. Because as it goes in life, as it goes with many things, I'll just keep on putting my head down and doing the work and creating things. And then I look up the next week and I'm like, 50 new subscribers, where'd that come from? And that's just how the growth has been going. So what if I decided every time there was 1 subscriber in a week that nobody cares, I should just give up? No, that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because even if one person gets benefit from it, one person can gain something from it, that means we're doing something right. And that doesn't mean that everybody always has the time and the energy to give to the things that you're discussing that particular week. Maybe they have time and energy next week, and you'll have missed that boat because you're so busy worried about instant gratification and feedback for every little thing that you're doing and accomplishing. Sometimes the micro wins are there to show us and also let us know what we're made out of. And it also shows us whether we even deserve to have the big things in our lives, or whether we're going to have the stick-to-itiveness that allows us to keep these things in our lives. Because there's one thing to bring something amazing into your life. There's one thing to write the great book that you want to write. There's one thing to accomplish the goals that you want to put forward in your life. But what about maintaining it? What about being the type of person that lives in that space, that lives in the goals, that lives in that next level? And that's where we want to be at. We don't want to shoot high and get something that's like great, and then it's like, oh well, yeah, and then all of it just goes to crap because we weren't really the person that built up the resilience and the dexterity to be able to handle it. A lot of people talk about this with negative feedback when it comes to their art and their projects, and even doing things like putting content on YouTube, stuff like that. You have to be the kind of person that's okay with people not agreeing with their messages, people disliking things, people having something to say that gets held for review because it's that rough and mean. You have to be okay with that, because eventually you got to work yourself into not being a person that cares about it. It's the same thing when it comes to those micro wins. So if you're having a day and you just like, I didn't get anything on my goal list, like I got my goal list on a whiteboard right there, and I'm putting some effort towards something that's on that board every single day. And I can look at the end of the night sometimes and say, hey, I didn't really do anything towards some of the major aspects of that. But because one of them is helping and inspiring other people, I'm like, hey, who did you help and inspire today? Did you put anything? I'm like, oh yeah, I put out a video. And then I give myself a little pat on the back. That's a little micro win, because while it's not one of the bigger tasks that I had on there, every day is not going to be this big old revolutionary day where I'm getting all these things done. And then you got to know yourself. You got to know if you're the kind of person that's easily to slack, that's easy to procrastinate, or if you're the kind of person that's a workaholic and who doesn't know when to close the computer at the end of the night, right? Because both of those things are extreme. Because I know that I am a person that will know when I have the thought or the idea, I'm going to sit there and get it done. I'm going to sit there and work. If 3 o'clock in the morning comes, I'm still on the laptop. It's because I just want to get this thing out and get it done before that, before the energy of the idea leaves me and stuff. So if I have a day to where nothing gets done and I plan to take a nap, which was one like yesterday, and it was a really good nap because I planned it. Nothing worse than not planning a nap and then you wake up and it's like, oh, I hate that. I didn't want to nap. But when you nap because you intended to in the middle of the day, it is beautiful. And so like when these things happen, I don't beat myself up over them because I already know that I'm a person who's very consistent and who can work and get things done. I have to pull myself back. And some of us know that we are very much procrastinators, that we don't always have the right mindset when it comes to getting things done. It's like to be consistent. So we know that when we miss that one day, it can be detrimental to our overall process, right? So I just want to say it's never too little. In each day, celebrate the micro wins, and that those incremental goals is what's going to get you to the biggest goal at the end of the day. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.